Superman is faster than a speeding bullet and more powerful than a black hole.
Well, all I can say, Dave, is that you'll always be my soldier boy.
Oh, that's cute.
I know.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to DC Fan-imated on this Thanksgiving Eve. That's right. We're doing it. We're still doing it. Scott's tired, but I'm not. I'm ready to.
Yeah. Someone had the day off and someone did not.
Exactly. It was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to wake up without an alarm. I don't want to rub it in, but it's just nice to wake up without an alarm and be like, oh yeah.
I got a little itch right up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use the big finger, of course. But it was it was kind of nice and stuff like that. But yes, of course, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and hopefully tomorrow will be you'll be spending some time with family, stuff your faces, watch some football if that's your thing. But and then of course drink beverages, which I got some wine right here. So cheers.
Nice. I've got right now. I pretty much got ice with a little bit of water in the bottom. So
he's hydrating, folks.
Oh, dude, am I hydrating? Yes.
No, that's good. There's nothing wrong with hydrating, especially with a day you have. But yes, we're talking about absolute power when it comes to Superman, the animated series. And a lot of black hole action that happens in here that I do not remember this episode really at all.
I remembered the beginning and I remembered the end. This is one of those episodes where what happened in the middle, I didn't remember at all.
Yeah.
But once, because last week I talked about how the title didn't tell me anything. But as I was messing around watching last week's episode, I accidentally read a little bit of the description. And then as soon as I saw who was in it, saw that it was Jax-Ur and Mala, I was like, oh, this episode. And like I said, I remember how it began, I remember how it ended, and I'm missing the middle, which is unusual for me. Usually it's like I remember the first half, and then it's the last half that I go, I don't remember anything. But now it was the middle. It was the middle that I was just kind of like, okay, no, that's what happened in this episode.
Yeah, I really don't remember this episode really at all, to be honest. And I mean, and then when it comes to this episode, I was just kind of like, okay, it's an interesting one. I mean, it's a return, of course, like you said, Jax-Ur and Mala, which is interesting. But at the same time, I just was kind of like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. It really is, because spoiler alert, they get taken care of at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So it was almost like I don't know. I'm very mixed on this episode, and it sounds like you're either mixed to kind of down on this episode. So I think it's going to be an interesting discussion, because I get it. I'm not fighting you on your opinion of the episode. It's an episode.
To me, this is what it is. To me, it feels like there could have been something more here, but it was just, there's a lot that's going on in this episode. You got this black hole thing. Obviously, it starts off with Clark, and then of course there's a narration over it where he's talking about it.
Yeah, which made that okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call that to the.
Why was it there?
Why was it there?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it just didn't feel like it needed that narration, except for exposition kind of thing,
But so much of the exposition was like, if I just watched the episode,
yes.
Instead of exposition, he could have had a recorded message from Hamilton or something. Like, it didn't need voiceover.
Yeah, we get it, Clark. We get it, Superman. You are investigating a black hole. Okay. And then all of a sudden a ship shows up and you're going to go, oh shit. And then that's pretty much, I mean, the narration stops like pretty immediately. It's like, there's not a lot there.
And then then they tag on a little bit of narration at the very end of the episode for this weird, like, moral of the story kind of statement that I'm just kind of like, I had issues. This is when voiceover is not done well.
No, not done well. So already off the bat, I'm going, what? Yeah. But like, what is it? Okay, so the black hole thing, and there's actually a really cool shot where, like, Superman in the ship, and then you see like the shadow. I guess you could see like the outline of the black hole that's on his face. It's a cool shot. you know, and everything. But and obviously investigating it because I mean, let's face it, black holes. I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't know. There was even a video on Twitter that just was going around again where NASA released like audio from certain
Yes,
black.
the audio of a black hole. Yes.
Frightening. I mean, you listen to that, it sounds like you know, in a movie where it sounds like Event Horizon when they fire up the fucking footage and people are like, you know, there's like hell, like they went to the dimension of hell, and it's like, holy crap. I mean, it sounds freaky when you hear that. Whew,
And now all I'm wanting to do is go watch Interstellar.
Oh, dude. Fucking hey, 10. Oh yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
Man. Oh,
yes.
I can't believe it's been 10 years. And you know what's funny too is like, oh, here's a tangent. We're going on a tangent already. Why not? Because this episode,
yeah, it's a meh episode. So
no, you know, fun fact. Matthew McConaughey claims that's probably his favorite movie he's ever done.
I would believe it, and I would agree with him. I mean, if you're gonna have me rank, you know, just Matthew McConaughey movies, number one, and you know the closest one to it is Contact.
Yeah. So both space movies. No, he was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about it, and because the host of the podcast said that's his favorite movie, like pretty much his favorite movie of all time. And McConaughey was like, "That's my favorite movie I ever done." You know, he started talking, and they started breaking it down too, and breaking down the character of Cooper of like, why would he leave and why would he not leave? And it was just like, it was a fascinating conversation, you know, a really good conversation.
Matthew McConaughey is a fascinating person,
intelligent,
very intelligent. Have you read his book Green Lights?
No, but is that the new one that just came out?
Like new as in like 3-4 years ago.
Okay, because I think he has a new book again.
Oh, really?
I think so. Or maybe he was talking about that book. I don't know. I know he had a book. I can't remember exactly if it was called that or something, but he was talking about a book. So maybe he has a new book.
I'll have to check that out because the book is the physical book is cool because it's kind of like scrapbooky with like little annotations, notations. But then Matthew McConaughey reads the audio book.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those that's worth like double dipping on.
It might be the same one. Maybe he was just still talking about it because, you know, why not? You know, because he was going on podcasts or I don't know. It's interesting because he does talk about how he did the audio, which of course you have to have Matthew McConaughey, you know, do the narration of his book. I'll send you. I'll send you the podcast. It's a really good podcast.
I want to hear this.
It's a really good podcast. But yeah, I mean, but the fact that that's like pretty much he basically deemed it one of the at least one of the his favorite movies he's ever done, and then he talks about his character and all that stuff. It's really good.
Well, and I think it's interesting because I'm forgetting Kip Thorne. Kip Thorne's the physicist that Christopher Nolan worked with to help develop what the black hole would look like in Interstellar. And then the creepy thing is that when NASA finally took photos of a black hole, it looked exactly like it looked like an Interstellar.
Ooh, yeah, they nailed it.
It was kind of cool. So when you see this black hole in this episode, as I skillfully bring us back to the subject we're supposed to be talking about. The cool thing is, I mean, the look of the black hole isn't very accurate, only because we've now determined, based on actual photography, that there is like this weird like ring of light around the black hole. Like it's strange. Like you can actually see the light in a real black hole, almost like bending around the gravity well of the event horizon of a black hole. So this is kind of an old-fashioned idea of a black hole where they literally just draw like a black circle and stuff being like sucked into it. But still, there's always that imagery, and I know Nolan did it in Interstellar, that when you start to cross over the event horizon, the idea that you start to like stretch.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted, and maybe if anyone was in the chat would be able to know, but I need to read this. I have the book that Kip Thorne wrote called, The Science of Interstellar. But I've always been curious, like, is it the light, or is it like what causes that? Like, besides gravity, no shit, like it's a black hole. I get that. But specifically that idea, or that, or at least that visual of the stretching, like I'm very curious, like scientifically what causes that, because that was something really cool that this episode did do,
Yeah.
was that did animate both with the probe at the beginning that Superman sends into it, and then later when, you know, the climax of the episode goes down, they do that really awesome, creepy sort of stretching effect. So scientifically, I want to do a little bit of reading to understand what's behind that.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, that's where I made the joke of like, you know, because obviously you get close enough that things are just gonna start sucking everything in. I mean, it sucks in light. It does what a black hole does, and then of course there's the ship that just randomly shows up, and then Superman just kind of leaves his ship just floating there. I mean, I guess he's just far enough away where the ship is gonna be okay and just float in space. But then of course he just like goes into this, and the ship's being sucked in, and he's able to just be like, I gotcha. You know, I'm like, this is not just like pushing back a plane or a train. I was like, yeah, this is a black hole that he's pushing against. And I'm like, okay, I mean, obviously it's a cartoon, it's Superman. I can suspend the disbelief, but at the same time, I was like, maybe they could have just not, I don't know. To me, I was like, damn.
Well, okay.
Absolute power for sure.
Well, yeah, I know. It's one of those things where you kind of have to look at what is the explanation of why Superman can fly. Yeah. Like in the comics, the idea, I mean, because remember, when we go back to the original Siegel and Schuster days, he just leaped tall buildings because that's what would happen if you come from a planet that has stronger gravity. You know, when you go to a planet with weaker gravity, I mean, look what happens to us when we go to the moon. You know, we're like, we're like bouncing around because it's a lower level of gravity than what we're used to. So then when it transferred, thanks to the radio show, because once again, that's where Superman began to fly, was in the old radio show. There's always been that thing of, okay, so how does he fly? How does he stop? How does he turn around? Like what allows him to do that? You know, and something that like Man of Steel did was kind of this idea that there's almost like this, like he's almost generating like this gravitational field around him somehow. Like that part never gets explained, but at least, you know, First Flight and in Zack Snyder's Justice League with the resurrection scene, you know, before he flies, things kind of start to float around him, like he's manipulating the gravity. So, you know, when you've got that, you've got to wonder, like, well, how does he fly in space where there literally is no gravity because it's vacuum? So that's why in the episode, at least, yes, he's pushing back against the black hole. How the hell is that happening? I appreciate you bringing that up. But at least in the episode, I like that he uses the rocket boosters in the spacesuit to give him momentum, to give him propulsion. Because once again, that's another thing about space, is that there's no air, there's no molecules, there's no resistance. So there's nothing to like propel you. You know, that's why I always appreciated things like first time I ever saw it was in that old 90s Fox show, Space Above and Beyond. And then the Battlestar Galactica reboot did it, that if you're gonna have starfighters that are gonna do these crazy, you know, maneuvers, you gotta have directional jets to like
to do all that,
push them in all those directions. So to the credit, while we're criticizing the fact that Superman's able to literally push a ship out of a black hole, I can then balance it with going, but at least they made him, at least there was some physics,
Yes,
and
there's
that
some.
he had rocket boosters to give him, you know, momentum to go in a direction, since once again, he is in space. Because this Superman, once again, and we've talked about this time and time again, this isn't Henry Cavill or Christopher Reeve, where he can just fly into,
Space and not go. Yeah.
right, he this is this weaker version of Superman that he can't breathe in space because there is no air.
Yeah.
So once again, and this episode plays with that a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And I always remember this episode as the one that really points out the fact that even Kryptonians, if they go into space, it's going to be like,
yeah, not gonna be able to breathe.
No,
but I mean, yeah, you bring up a good point, because one of the things that's always talked about too is like obviously Star Wars or whatever the hell. It's like, we see the X-wing fighters. It's like, when they're doing like basically just acting like how jets act like in on Earth. There would need to be propulsion like all over the place for them to do a lot of this movie. And then of course you see something like, okay, you watch Apollo 13. And you see like the way that they had to, especially that one, like really like probably I think was one of the best scenes in the movie, where they have to keep the Earth in the fucking window.
Yes.
They have to fire off the rest of what they have. And then it's just like a really intense scene where you got Bill Paxton, all three of them are like doing their thing, and you're seeing the ship, and it's you see all the propulsion all around it. It's like, yeah, I mean, technically, if we're going to have a realistic Star Wars in space, all the X-wing fighters, all the ships would have to have a bunch of doing that to make it move like it does.
Yeah. Once again, the Vipers in the 2000s Battlestar Galactica nailed that, and I was so excited. So great show. If you've not watched it, why not go watch Battlestar Galactica? There you go.
Yeah. So he rescues this ship, and I mean, but yeah, he takes it all because he sees like a little vapor trail kind of thing too. So it's like, okay, and of course the narration's kind of talking about that. So it's like, hey,
once again, it's the reason I hate the narration in Blade Runner, in the theatrical version of Blade Runner. Why are you narrating something that I can see with my own eyes? I don't need you to tell me something that you're also showing me. Like,
yeah. We don't need to see that. It's like, hey, we see that he using his and seeing that, and then he takes it back to this planet.
If you wanted some stupid exposition, you could have gone, oh, a vapor trail. That thing where they say something out loud for the sake of the audience. Okay, cool.
Yeah, or something, just like some kind of audible okay, or something like that. Yeah. And so he takes the ship back, and it's like, oh, this seems like an interesting planet and everything, but turns out it's called New Krypton.
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
I had a moment there when I saw the aliens.
Yeah.
I almost wondered if we were going to get some sort of like Sinestro-esque.
Yes, I thought that too.
Yes. Okay, good.
Their eyes are like greenish. I mean, come on.
They got the red skin.
They got the red skin too. Yes. I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, wait, because I was like, I really don't remember this episode. I'm like, is there going to be some connections to Green Lantern in here? What are we doing here? Nothing. But
no. I am going to go ahead and give you a wink and a nod, though, Dave. That's the next episode of Superman that we will be watching eventually. Is the Green Lantern Sinestro episode.
Okay, I remember that one. Okay. So
yeah. Now we're not going to get to it for like almost 2 months now.
Yeah, it's gonna wait. Yeah,
it's going to be a minute, because we're going a long break from Superman. We did a whole month of Superman. We're going to go on a long break. But yeah, it was really weird for me watching this episode and going, the next episode is the Sinestro episode.
Oh man. So yeah, maybe they were just like, hey, we're gonna start getting more into the cosmos and more, hey, teasing it because
Yeah,
yeah, like you,
but that's
I was thinking the
exactly
same
what
thing.
I thought when I saw the people. I was like, is it the same species as
Yeah, could be.
Sinestro? I don't know. I will say they didn't have the elf ears.
No, they did not
So
have those. So but they had like the alien type eyes and the red skin is what really.
the red skin was really what did it for me too.
Yeah.
Uh, but we see Mala.
Yeah.
However, did you recognize the voice?
It's not the same voice as before.
It's
They
not the
changed it.
they
Oh
changed the
no, I did
voice.
not recognize the voice. I just assumed it was the same voice as before.
Oh no, because you should recognize the voice.
Oh God,
It's Sarah Douglas.
Sarah Douglas. Why am I not recognizing that name?
She was Ursa in the
Oh,
Donner films.
oh shit. Okay. You know what's funny? You know what's so funny, Scott? And I'm not bullshitting you.
Okay.
When I was watching this episode and hearing her voice, I was going, "Gosh, she sounds like Ursa." And I'm like, but since the first time when we talked about it, it was like, yeah, this is essentially Zod and Ursa, but they just didn't
Or
utilize
Zod and Feora, or it's like
Feora or whatever the hell.
right.
Yeah,
She's kind of a Feora Ursa,
yeah, mix.
mix. Yes.
Yeah. So, but I was just like, when I was listening, I was like, man, really does sound like.
There's a reason for that, Dave.
There it is, because it's actually, oh wow, that is so funny. That actually kind of makes me feel better that I had that thought as I was watching this episode.
Right,
Wow.
because
Wow.
yes, because in the
That's so
two-parter
funny.
that introduced Jax-Ur and Mala, the actress who played Mala was Leslie Easterbrook. But for
Yeah.
this episode, yes, they actually got Sarah Douglas to come and be the
That
voice
is
of
so-
Ursa,
that
along
is
with
so
Ron
funny.
Perlman as
Yeah.
Perlman returning as Jax-Ur.
Yeah, of course. So it's so funny too, because at first I was like, wait, who's Jax-Ur again? And then it took me a bit because it doesn't sound like Ron Perlman does a good job.
Different voice. He does do a different kind of voice.
He does do a good job of hiding it. And at first I was like drawing a blank. I was going, wait, I know Jax-Ur is and then probably about 2 minutes after I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, it's Ron fucking Perlman, of course.
Yeah, which,
But,
by the way, I shared that with you. I want to tell the audience, Voodoo or Fandango at home.
Oh yeah,
you are doing, like, for $30, you get like 6 Hellboy movies, like
including the new one,
including the new one.
Yeah.
And they're all in 4K. So just I mean, you get the director's cut of the first Hellboy. You get Golden Army. You get the David Harbour Hellboy. You get the Crooked Man, and you get the 2 animated movies that they did, where Ron Perlman is also the voice of Hellboy in the 2 animated movies. So for $30, and you get all that in 4K, that is a Black Friday deal. I haven't watched Crooked Man yet, but I've been wanting to. So when that deal, I've been watching that bundle, and when the price dropped down to $30, I was like, sold. I'm on that.
There you go. Get on it, folks, if you're a Hellboy fan, for sure. So yeah, so we find out that they're running this society, and then of course Jax-Ur gives the whole spiel of like, hey, we well, it has to explain, like, because the last time we saw them, they went into the Phantom Zone. And then it was like, okay, so what exactly happened here? Well, I mean, again, going back to the black hole happened, and the black hole.
That was a really dumbass reason for what they
kind of
came
was.
up with. It was kind of stupid. I remembered something happening with I remember the black hole being the reason they got out of the Phantom Zone. But when I got to the explanation, I was like, oh, that's how they did it? Oh, that's stupid. I was not down for their explanation of how they tore open a breach to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, I mean, but they had to figure something out. And of course, Jax-Ur was like, hey, yeah, and then we landed here on this planet. It was kind of like Earth. There was battles, there was division and stuff like that, and we made it better, of course. And
yeah, this sounds a little bit like either fascism or communism. It was
a little bit. When he's explaining and they're showing how people are working, and essentially they're robots. And then I love how, like, Superman, when he looks down, the first thing he says, like, Yeah, it'd be nice if I see somebody with a smile on their face down there. And it was like he's like noticing, like, yeah, you might
They
have
don't
everything.
smile.
Yeah,
They don't smile enough. Sorry,
but it's just like,
I
but
had
I
to
mean,
go there. Sorry.
but it's just funny because it's like, yeah, that's one of the things. Is like, okay, you have everything in order and everything's working like a machine, but nobody's happy. You know, happy is good. You know.
Yeah. I looked at that, and then of course in the middle of that there's this giant, because once again, uh Jax-Ur and Mala explained that the ship that Superman, saved was full of criminals. Now, I was trying to understand, and this is where the episode again kind of falls apart, is because it introduces all these concepts and
Mm-hmm.
then like never like goes into them. So was the ship with the anarchists, as Jax-Ur keeps on saying, were they trying to escape the planet and then
Yeah.
accidentally got sucked into the black hole? Or were they going to be executed by being sent into the black hole? Like, I
Yeah.
was
See,
like,
that's the thing. There's a lot here where it might have needed a little bit more, maybe even two parts, but at the same time, why are you going to do
see,
a two
it
part?
seemed it introduced so many concepts. I felt like
Yeah.
a two-parter was needed to like flesh things out.
Yeah. There's just a lot here when you're talking about, Superman taking on like off Earth. You're not gonna. It's not a normal Superman episode. So, and he's on another planet and he's going to help another planet. And there's just so much that's here. And like you said, there's concepts, there's everything. And it's like, you're fitting this in 22 minutes. I don't know about that. And I think that's why this episode falls flat for me, because I like the concepts that are introduced. I like the fact that Jax-Ur and Mala are back and they are ruling this in the way that they seem fit, and they call it New Krypton. And I like the fact that there's anarchists that are pushing back against it. It's your normal story of that, and Superman's just like the fish out of water, like, what the fuck? This doesn't seem right. And I'm gonna start helping out the anarchists. And then there's just a lot here, but yeah, 22 minutes, not enough time to
But
just.
even then, he doesn't even really help them out until
True.
Sataya shows him the factory building the Armada, and then he realizes the Armada is going to attack Earth. That's
Yeah.
really the only, like, he's willing to investigate. He knows that he doesn't feel right about Jax-Ur and Mala being charged of this planet, but he's got kind of this weird, like, prime directive stance going on. It's like, I'm not going to interfere in this
Yeah.
other culture, even though it's already been interfered with
Yeah.
because Jax-Ur and Mala have taken over. Like, once again, it, it's like it's like the kitchen sink got thrown into this episode, and
Yeah.
stuff which is kind of left very sort of superficial and surface level.
Yeah, yeah, because Jax-Ur is just like, hey, we got your ship, we got it. It was just floating out there. We got it. Don't worry, we got it for you. It's right here. I mean, and even Jax-Ur is like, hey, you could scan it, make sure it's good. We didn't, we're not gonna fuck with you. We just want you to leave.
Right,
Kind of
because
thing.
once you leave, we can continue doing our plans, which apparently
Exactly.
involve an invasion of Earth. So,
Yeah, but of course, we have Santaya, who Superman sees kind of sneaking around and stuff like that. And then of course there's like an assistant to Jax-Ur and Mala. Mala probably assist her more than Jax-Ur if we but the fact that she just walks up and kind of just kisses him.
yes, we have a let's see. Hold on, let me look at my notes here, because Sataya is the female character.
Yes. And then
Um,
you got the assistant guy. I forgot his name.
yeah, his name was Alteris. Uh,
Alteris.
yeah,
Yeah.
and both of them are names that the actors, the voice actors.
No shit. Okay, they sounded like they should be.
Well,
Who are they?
one of them you should notice. I'm going to slap you really hard.
Fuck. God damn it.
Okay,
It's
I'm
the
going to
guy.
start off
It's
with
the kid.
Sataya. Sataya is Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, there you go.
Yeah, and then Alteris is
Just
Carl Lumley.
Carl Lumley. Who is that?
Well, when we get to Justice League, he's the voice of Martian Manhunter.
Well, there you go. Jesus Christ.
You know, I of course remembered him from Mantis and oh, what else? And then Alias with Jennifer Gardner. So
God, now I see his face. Jesus Christ. Because I didn't watch Alias all that much. I watched the first season. How
the best season, yeah.
It is, of course. Yeah. I fell off. How many seasons did
4.
If we went 4.
Yeah,
I fell
4 or 5.
I fell off after the first season. I don't know why. I just didn't come back. But I liked the first season.
Yeah, the first season was the best one, and it was just a little bit of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
On that one.
Overstayed its welcome.
It did. JJ went a little weird with that one.
Yeah. No, it's JJ.
It's JJ. Yeah. But like I said, I loved the Mantis as a kid. So
I never watched that.
You never watched Mantis?
I don't think I did.
Oh, it was produced by Sam Raimi.
Mantis. What was Mantis?
It was about a black philanthropist who is a paraplegic, and the only way he could walk is by wearing this exoskeleton, which also kind of...
Oh, okay. I remember it, but I didn't watch it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, and he had little darts that would shoot out and would paralyze the people who got hit by the darts for a set amount of time.
Okay.
It was a fun show.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. I remember it when you explained it, but I never watched it. So maybe I'll
check it out. Put it on the list.
Yeah, put it definitely on the list. Sam Raimi, that's all he had to say. You know, anything Sam Raimi, I'm all about. So yeah, so then of course he sees her, and then it's like, okay, now it's time to, investigate. And like you said, he sees that he's building an armada, ready the armada, and finds out that, oh, yep, shocker, it's headed towards Earth, and that's where shit goes down. And they're like, well, what the fuck? Because obviously Centaya, she does a thing where she sabotages something where it distracts them. So then it's like, oh, and I could do the thing I wanted to do. But it was only a matter of time before they figure out that, wait a minute, something's not right here.
Okay, hold on. Now, are you talking about when Alteris messes with the navigation on the ship when they go to the black hole?
Oh, yeah. I think, did I jump ahead?
You jumped ahead, and you were giving Sataya credit for something that Alteris does. Yeah, because they're at the because where we were, we were at the factory for the Armada, and then Superman gets captured.
That's right.
But you're not too far off, because then immediately where we jump to, they're on a ship that's going to the black hole, because they're just planning on chucking Sataya and Superman into the black hole, I guess.
Yeah.
Once again, there's not a lot of explanation about why we drive all the way back out to the black hole just so that Jax-Ur can go, I admire black holes. Nothing can escape its grasp. The absolute power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's essentially it was only for him to say the title
of the episode. Yeah.
It was like, oh, he said it. There it is, folks. Absolute power. But yeah, so okay, yeah, I jumped ahead a little bit there, but not too much. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's what's his name, that
Alteris.
Who
we knew that he wasn't down with the regime, because he wiped off Mala's a kiss earlier. But once again, part of the superficiality that bugged me with the episode is, what was his motivation? We clearly, he looks like he's all about being part of the regime.
Yeah.
But then it turns out he's not. But the episode then never tells us why.
Yeah, it's very true. Like I said, there's a lot of things here where they could have just kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. It's not a bad story. It's just so condensed.
Yes.
That everything just goes, okay, that. But it's like, well,
move along. Yeah, and we're walking.
Nothing to see here, folks. Just keep going. We're moving this story along. And I'm like, damn, there's a lot more meat on this bone. which could have, I think, benefited, you know, with a 2-parter or something like that, like we were just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that all happens, and then yeah, and then of course they're and anytime that Superman gets, you know, stringed up, it's always it's always
like this.
Yeah, it's always like I'm strapped up right here. So he's like, you know, strapped up just like, I mean, people in space apparently they don't just like do like, I mean, yeah, they'll capture you where they bind your arms together, but then when they want to, like, you know, really capture you and hold you together, it's all it's all putting the arms up. It's
the legs are in clamps, the arms
Yes.
are clamps, are stretched out like this.
Yes, exactly.
It's almost a crucifixion kind
Pretty
of
much.
deal going on. Yeah, it happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, but hey, I mean, it makes for visuals, right? It makes for how it looks, I guess you could say. But you know, but of course they go to the black hole, and well, first off, what's his name again?
Excuse me.
Oh, see, tiredness. Yeah,
tiredness. Yeah. Once again, 2:45 a.m. was a long time ago.
Yep, that was Jace.
Alteris was the character. Yes.
He you know, he does show up to hey, guess what? I'm with you. I'm with you. Here we go. Here's a gun. I'm gonna shoot the your clamps off. Don't worry, we got you. I'm gonna wipe out some of these guards right here. I'm with you. So at least, you know, we got that scene where we get the escape, I guess you could say.
Yes, and then of course Jax-Ur and Mala go to check out what went wrong with the navigation system.
Yep.
That's when they realized that Alteris had screwed with it, and so we're betrayed. And then you know, they start fighting, punchy, smashy, smashy. You know, the front part of the ship starts to get like ripped off or blown off.
Let's just jump into the
clip.
Jump to
the clip. I mean, that's it's clip time, folks.
It's clip time, and here we go. There's that black hole right there that we keep seeing throughout.
It's ejected with 2 passengers.
Ejected with 2 passengers. What? Oh, look at that shot. That's a cool shot.
The coloring on him is cool. Now, why it continues when he's up there?
Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to admit, kickboxing in midair is kind of cool.
It is cool. This is where the ship starts blowing up.
You're in a spaceship, folks. There's a vacuum out there.
Yeah, you might not want to mess it up.
We're caught in the gravity well.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Once again, fire in space.
Yes, of course. You got to forgive that.
But do we?
As 40-year-old men, no, we do not. And then, of course, hey, here's some oxygen. We got to, you know.
Okay. So Superman gets sucked out into the vacuum.
Yep.
He's holding his breath. And I'm going to forgive it only because he's Kryptonian. But you know, they've actually proven that's the one thing you don't do. If you
hold your breath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you will explode.
Yes. Yes. You keep it in. Yes.
Right. I remember the first time I ever heard that was actually, there was an animated movie back in the early 2000s. Remember the movie Titan AE?
Yes, I remember that. That was, yeah, the animated movie, right?
Yes.
Yes. Voiced by Matt Damon?
Matt Damon and Bill Pullman was in it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But they actually do that when they jump from one ship to the next. And you actually hear very quickly say, blow out the air.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when you're underwater and they say to do that if you were like in deep underwater, get all the air out of your lungs, like blow all the bubbles before you get to the surface or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah, because the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure.
You equalize the pressure.
But see, like when it comes to the scene, I mean, like the things that are happening, it's cool. I mean, like, the animation's fine.
He jumps onto the meteor and pushes himself over.
Yeah.
Like there's some physics here. I appreciate that. But
Well,
this
it's a
right
video.
here.
Yeah, this is where it starts getting trippy right here, folks. And then slowly.
Yeah, they're
Whoa, look at that. And Superman's like, go, get out just in time. Yeah. There it is. Just got out. You're good.
My question is why he was wearing the oxygen mask and now he takes it off while he's in the ship. I mean,
yeah, it is kind of interesting. Like, why
Yeah.
was that the case? But I don't know. When things are intense, you have to wear an oxygen.
I wondered if it wasn't I who should be grateful.
And then, of
why
course,
the
you get-
narration?
They reminded
Why
me
the
that
narration?
evil triumphs when good men do nothing. I won't forget it again.
He won't forget it again, Scott. He won't forget it
I
again.
I didn't think he forgot in the first place.
I don't think he would, especially if you get a medal, like, you know, at the end of fucking Star Wars. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's what they do. That's what they do, folks. Out in the cosmos, intergalactic, you save a planet or whatever the fuck,
you get a medal.
You get a freaking medal. And that's what they wanted to do, is give Superman a medal. That was the whole point of this episode, was to give Superman a medal. Where does he keep that? In his apartment? Who knows?
It's in the fortress. You know that.
Oh, yeah, true. Why would it be in his apartment? It's hanging up in the Fortress of Solitude. But there you go. It's again, not all bad.
It's an episode.
It's an episode. It's interesting. Like I said, there was a little too much more. There was more meat on the bone where they could have really stretched it out a little bit more. And I could appreciate what they were trying to go for, but it was just way too condensed, and they trimmed too much of the fat. And yeah, that's where it just kind of falls flat for me, but not terrible. It's not terrible.
It's not. Once again, we've seen bad.
Yes, we have.
We've seen bad.
Yeah.
This is just meh.
Yeah, a little meh. Yeah, and I think we both agree with that. But you know, that's what happens. That's what happens on this good old Thanksgiving Eve. What do we got next week?
All right, so we have ended our month of November. That was our November was all Superman,
Which I love the fact that it was perfectly in November.
Right. Well, almost. We were almost going to be perfectly in December,
Oh.
but Dave and I agreed that we ain't streaming Christmas Day.
Yeah. Christmas Day. I mean, let's face it. When it comes to Christmas Day and New Year's Day, I was kind of thinking maybe we could do New Year's Day, but who knows? I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, it might be a little too hungover or something like that. So we're going to have like a 2-week off hiatus when it comes to that, because it's Christmas Day and New Year's Day is on a Wednesday, right?
Are both on Wednesdays, yeah. Because Christmas Day and New Year's Day always end up on the same day of.
Yes, it's always a week apart. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but that being said, of the Wednesdays we will be doing the show, it's all Batman, because folks, we only have 5 episodes left of Batman the Animated Series.
So crazy to think about that.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Hold on, let me double check this, because once again, because of the weeks off we're taking, my math's a little off. But let me double check the list. 1, 2, 3. No, 4 episodes remaining.
4. Wow.
Of all of Batman the Animated Series. It only took us almost 4 years. But we're finally in the home stretch of the last 4 episodes of the entire series.
That is crazy. And
So,
what's next week's episode?
Next week's a good one, man. Funny enough, because we do production order.
Yes.
We're watching it next week, even though technically it was the last aired episode of the series.
No shit.
Yes. Mad Love.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Next week is Mad Love, folks.
Oh, the infamous Mad Love. Wow. Oh, I didn't, Yeah, because like I said, you're going in production order, and I was like, and I remember like scrolling through, and I was like, oh, Mad Love is the very last one, according to at least that, but no, not in
because
production
that was
order.
air order.
Yes.
And airing order,
Wow.
yes, it was the last episode of the series aired, but it's not the last in production order. So we're watching Mad Love next week.
Wow, there you go. Classic. Yes. Everybody always refers to Mad Love, when it comes to Harley and Joker, of course. Everybody always kind of like, hey, remember the Mad Love? I mean, because there was a comic book also, right? It's comic book.
Right. Well, because the episode, and we'll once again
we'll unpack it.
We'll unpack it next week. But the episode is an adaptation of a one-shot from 1994 that was literally written by Paul Dini, and all the interior art is by Bruce Timm.
Nice.
And it won an Eisner.
Ooh.
But this is the episode. So this episode adapts very, very faithfully the comic book, because Paul Dini wrote the screenplay for the episode. So he adapts it himself, and it's almost like reading. But I would still recommend,
of course,
going out. There's a great hardcover collection that it's in. You've got, of course, you can read it on DC Universe Infinite. You can check it out there. If you've got the Batman Adventures Omnibus, it's included in that. Good luck finding a copy of Mad Love, because that sucker's worth about, $300 at this point. Which I'll show you what it looks like next week, because I have it.
Of course you do. That'll be fun. All right. Can't wait to talk about that. And like I said, absolute power. It was an interesting episode. We have some fun, a little discussion talking about it. So, but anyways, happy Thanksgiving Eve, everybody. Thank you guys for spending some time with us, or who are listening post. Of course, hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. If you're listening to it afterwards, hopefully your bellies are full.
And maybe you're listening to it on Thanksgiving. Who knows?
You might be. Hey, you could be doing that on your way to, like, oh God, I'm going to my family's house. There's always that aspect of it too. We've all been there. We're like, oh,
we have been there. Yes,
we've all been there. Thankfully, tomorrow, speak of thanks, just going to my mom's. It's got to be fine. I'm actually really looking forward to it. And she always puts on a good dinner. So Mama Film Junkie, always awesome with the Thanksgiving dinner. So Scott, go ahead and plug away with what you got.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter X at ScottDC27, on Instagram at McMerlin, and on Vero at Scott McClellan. I hope that you are subscribed to the DC TV Squadcast wherever you get your podcasts. We are preparing. We've decided that because the series finale of Superman and Lois airs next Monday, that Ray and I are going to record after the series finale airs, and our next episode of DC TV Squadcast, which I'm hoping that we're going to record next Wednesday, 2 days after the series finale airs. Of course, this is all dependent on Ray getting caught up on season 3 and season 4. But when we do record the episode, we are going to basically break down the second half of the entire series, because we're going to discuss seasons 3 and 4 in its entirety on the next episode, which I'm hoping that we record middle of next week, which means it'll probably be out by, Friday or next weekend. So make sure you're prepared. Of course, you can go there, you can subscribe, you can listen to our entire breakdown week by week of the Penguin, and then get ready for us to have a massive, 2-season discussion finale for Superman and Lois, which, by golly, y'all, I think, in my opinion, season 4 is the best season of this show. This show has been an incredible Superman TV show, an incredible network superhero TV show. I mean, yes, it's on the CW, but please don't let any prejudice you may have about the CW. This show, from start to finish, there's been some dips here or there. Season 3 had some ups and downs, but season 4, I thought season 1 was amazing. Season 4 has just been great. So please, y'all, go. You can catch the first 3 seasons on Max. You can stream the entire 4th season for free if you download the CW app, and go check it out. And then be prepared for Ray and I to discuss seasons 3 and 4 on DC TV Squadcast.
There it is, man. Yeah, I got to catch up myself. I know you were telling me about that, but yeah, I'm only season 1 in, but I've seen some of the images, especially the whole Doomsday images and stuff like that. And for CW, you know, I will say, like, goddamn.
Dude, they do it. And I'm going to give you a little bit of hint. This last episode, they did it in daylight.
Oh,
and it actually looked good.
Yeah, because sometimes that's, you know, wow, that's good. That's good. So make sure you guys check that out. Hit that like, thumbs up. I'll see. We're still going to be doing a vodka stream on Friday, you know, Black Friday. I know, like, you know, do all your shopping, which I think mainly people just do online now. But yeah, we'll be here at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time doing some discussions on, you know, it was a slow like movie news week and stuff like that. But we still have things to talk about. And for some reason, Scott, if you're joining, I don't know, past couple of weeks, we've gone off on some food tangents. It's been, and with Thanksgiving being a thing, we might have a whole little other food tangent that happens on the vodka stream. So
nice. Might talk about like what we ate for Thanksgiving.
Pretty much. We could probably do all that. So anyways, guys, love you. Thank you for spending time with us. We'll see you next week, of course, talking about Mad Love when we go back to Gotham. And for Scott and I, we will talk to you later.